Good morning. Our hand today is going to be pocket nines. In this hand, we have under the gun raise, and then it's to me in the small blind. Villain one's playing 25-15, 3-bet 8%. We do have, a couple hundred hands on him. Early position looks like his raising first in's about 24%. His limp first in's 2%, 1 out of 42. Maybe that's an accident. Maybe that is real. Could be that early position pops up. Unusual game conditions. Who knows? But this is 24%. Probably looks about right. Maybe we could drop 5-4 off and just say he's got the broadways, pocket pairs, suited aces, suited connectors, suited one gappers down to about 6-5, 7-5. Maybe he has these other two, but this looks pretty good, 4 to 24%. Good starting point. And then it's on us in the small blind. So if we look at our small blind versus early position, I wouldn't necessarily call him tight. I think we are looking at something like this, where we're dealing with a 3-better call. Pretty tight. I guess versus this player, we kind of think about what hands are going to do well with a call, what hands are going to do well with a raise. His C-bet stats pretty high at 100%, and then it drops off. Is this real? He's got 2 and 4, and then 4 and 10. I do think this is real. He's probably turn honest. I think we can play flops with some calls, quite a few calls, and then if he checks the turn, we know that he didn't connect at all, or doesn't have a very good hand, and we could probably take it away from him at that point. So we can kind of look at what hands are going to do well to do that. I kind of think like the aces. If we have the ace blocker, that could do well for a call, because we can generate some extra bets from the flop, whereas if we have like Jack 10, Queen Jack, King Jack, those might do better as a 3-bet, just to try to take it down right now. His full to 3-bet stats 100%, 1 out of 1. He hasn't faced a whole lot of 3-bets, especially not from the small blind, and I haven't really been playing a lot of 3-bets until I think recently. I think the last few days I'm trying to 3-bet more. So looking at this range, I kind of think that we could 3-bet nines, or we probably should 3-bet nines and 10s, and maybe jacks and queens go for just a call. But we called, so we're going to say we called with that entire range and go from there. We see a flop, ace 7-5, so ace 5 of clubs with 7 of diamonds. That's actually not too bad a flop. If villain does not have an ace, he more than likely missed it. You could see his top pair hits about a quarter of the time, a little less than a quarter of the time, and then 75% of the time he doesn't have that top pair. So say 5%, he's got better than that. Better than that 2 pair plus. And 30%, it's going to be weaker. You can note that almost 45% he doesn't have a hand, so this is actually a pretty decent flop. We can easily go for a check here and see what villain does. And I think, as I said, I think we're going to probably be checking 100%, and we're probably going to be calling close to 100%. We're going to call for some value, and we're going to call because if he checks behind on the turn, we could probably be confident that he does not have the ace. So I checked and villain bet. Villain bet half pot. What do we think he's going to be betting with? Probably all of these. This is a favorable board for him. He should have the aces. If we eliminate all of the no-made hands, then he's looking at 66.2%. That's what he's betting. If we're going to include all of the no-made hands, that comes up to 100%. Do I think he's going to bet 100%? Well, He's in position. He's c-bet so far 4 out of 4 times. I do think it's possible that he's just going to fire again on the flop. That is a lot of hands to be c-betting with. We do have flush draws, open-enders, 2-card backdoor flushes that we'll leave in. We'll go with 66%, even though I kind of feel like it's going to be 100% here. So he bets. What do we do with our hand? I don't think we could fold. I do think we're going to be calling with, our 2-card backdoor flush draws or flush draws, top pair, top card pair less than that. I wouldn't do like hearts, like the king, queen of hearts, king, jack of hearts. I don't think I would necessarily do that. Call with those because we don't really have a backup plan. We're just calling at that point, hoping that he's going to check the turn. We could take it away on the river. With 9s, 10s, jacks, we're calling because I don't think he's going to have. He might not have the ace, but we also have the possibility of raising. So I think with this bet, I think we can sometimes raise. Let's do our red. I think we could sometimes raise our top pair. And I think with top pair, probably ace queen, ace jack. Would we do ace 10? Maybe. That's 18%. I think we could raise our flush draws. Let's do a different color for that. That's 12 to 8. That's probably a pretty good raise. And then would we raise like 9s, 10s, jacks, and queens? Possibly. I think 9s and 10s we could raise for protection. We are a little bit vulnerable, so turn could bring a queen or a king, and now that hits king queen. That could be in his pre-flop raising range. So I think raising is a possibility. If we raise, we would raise to about 12. If he calls, then I think we're going to be betting a club, because I think that hits our flushes. I think we would bet a club. I think we could bet an 8. Although I think if an 8 comes, if a 10 comes, if a 6 comes, while that improves our equity, and we typically would barrel when we improve our equity, I think we have difficulty because we have to think what player would bet and then call. Would he bet and call with a hand weaker than an ace? Let's see what his tendencies are, and I bet we don't have enough. I bet we don't have enough. Let's see here. Fold to raise after c-bet. There it is, 50%. Maybe. We could attack. Definitely attack. So, kind of think versus this player, it's probably better just to call. I think it's probably just better to call instead of raising, and I'd say that because of the ace. If this was a queen, I think we probably have a much stronger argument to go ahead and raise here. But with the ace, I kind of think if he calls, we're going to be behind the ace, and it's going to put us in a tough situation because if we check the turn and he fires out a pot bet, it's going to be hard for us to call, and it's going to be hard for us to continue with the barrel because he could easily have the ace, and then we're just burning money because we think he'll call. So, I kind of think let's just call it. Might need to check some GTO on this, but I think maybe just call. Which I did, and then we see a turn. All right, 8 a turn is one of those cards that we were just talking about. If we check raised here, what do we do with the 8? That actually I think helps us. It gives us an open ender. We could fire another barrel because if called, we could always back into a straight. We could always back into trips. I think it would be hard for him to call. However, I think if we if we check raise him, he's probably calling with the ace, and then I don't think he's folding. And if we check, then I suspect he would go ahead and fire a bet at us, especially if he has like ace king, ace queen. So we've got 8 of spades. Do we lead here? I think we could. I don't really like it because if we raise, then we give up. We're going to probably have to give it up and we won't be able to see that river card. And I think SIG the river card is going to be valuable. I think we have a viable bluff if we miss and a club comes. I think we can bet a 6. We could bet a 10 probably. We could bet a 4 probably. I think we've got a lot of hands where we can lead and possibly get him to fold. And I think that's favorable. That's better than leading here, getting raised, and having to fold. So I think we're going to be checking 100% here. Villain bets now. He bets half pot. So I think once he bets half pot, we're going to eliminate a lot of these other hands. You could see his c-bet turn, or his barrel turns much lower. So I don't think now king, queen, I don't think he's betting those. I don't think middle pair, weak pair. And it's questionable whether he even has these draws, flush draws, open enders. Probably not gut shot. I think those are hands where he could probably just check. I don't know if I have his notes. Nope. We do have limp a call or raise at 6s, but I think definitely he is big hands. So now it's on us. What do we think? We're getting 3-1. 3-1. That's not enough just to call for a straight draw, but I think we have the opportunity to pick up the pot on a 4, a 6, a 10. I think we're gonna have higher than that, than the 25% that we need. So I do think we call. What kind of calls? What do we call with? I think ace queen. I think our top pair is going to be tough. I do think we could find a fold with the ace 10. With the ace jack, I think we could. Maybe it's like 50% of the time, we fold those. Ace queen's going to be rough. We could be faced with an ace king. I think what we're looking at is if we're going to call, we're going to be calling with flush draws, gut shots type of hands. I don't even think pocket pair below the top card we can call. So I think ace queen is probably the best top pair we can call with. Ace jack and ace 10, we've got major kicker problems. He's fired twice now, and that's not typical of his play. Versus another player, versus let's say a player like this where he c-bets 60% on the flop, c-bets 60% on the turn. Yes, we can call with ace jack and ace 10 because he could easily be firing another barrel with kings and queens, but I don't think that's this guy. So I think we call here, hoping to improve. We're hoping to pick up a card that we can steal the river on. And the queen of hearts is not that card. That's not the card. Doesn't really pick up a straight at all. It doesn't complete a club. So at this point, I think we don't have any way to win the pot unless it gets checked through. And if it gets checked through, I still don't think we're going to be good. So I did check. Villain 1 checks behind. So what kind of hands is Villain 1 going to check? I think all his top pair. I think ace king probably bets. Could be cautious. I do think 2 pair and sets are going to bet. So I think at a minimum, we're looking at a top pair hand here. So what happens? We get to see showdown. He shows jacks. that is a little interesting because I didn't have that pocket pair in here. I assumed on that turn that he was not going to be betting these. Right. So pocket pair below the top card. I assumed he was not going to be betting these. He did. And that means that we could have fired out a bet on that river and possibly gotten him to fold. But kind of interesting. He must have put me on a club draw. So what we'll have to do is, kind of think about, take a note, recognize that he could fire second barrel with an under pair. So if this happens again, we know we don't automatically exclude all pairs lower than top pair. All right, hopefully you enjoyed this. If you do, look tomorrow for another hand.